Hey YouTubers, this is Ernst. We're going to go over the new Battlefield CTE map, Dragon Valley. Now, from what I understand, Dragon Valley is a Battlefield 2 map. I never played Battlefield 2 all that much, so this is a new map for me. This map has 8 objective points. A and B are close to the US deployment. C is a Zen Palace. D is a little village off to the left. E is at the end of a little island in the middle. F is quite close to the Russian base, along with G and H. As you take a little quick fly over, we're going over the US side. A is a tower up on top of a hill. Go down to B, C over the Zen Garden, D village on the left, and E at the end of the island. We'll take another little backtrack across, and again you'll take a look at C, the Zen Garden down there below, and D, the village on the left. Somebody decided to start shooting at me, so I had to try to get to a point where I can get this video again. So again, we're going to go over A, where there's a tower up on a hill, B down to the right, C over a Zen Garden, D on the left is a village, E is at the very end of the island, and we were flying directly into F. So as we go up from the US spawn, get into A here, we go up the main road to get here, but there's also a ladder on the side if you take the US spawn out to the left. As you continue around A, you basically have to circle this tower in order to cap, and then head on down the hill to B. The big problem with this is it's really quite some distance away. To put it in perspective, you have to run down this alleyway or down the alleyway to the left to either go towards C or D, but it's still quite a ways away. Now there is a road that goes from essentially the Russian spawn all the way to B that you can get to, and you can cross the water using LAVs but not tanks. It's quite too deep for tanks or quads, but you can get there with an LAV. They've also introduced new bridges that can be taken down and actually repaired. So from testing, it took me about 4 tank shells, and I believe this is 4 straws, so that's our second one there. Here comes the third. And the fourth. So the bridge collapses, which is a nice little feature, as if you are on C or E and you're trying to defend it. If you take the bridges off, they essentially have to cross the water, which makes the enemies more vulnerable. Here, once the bridge starts lighting on fire, it begins to repair, and we can head from A to D, or the back way from B to D. So once you get to D, there's a little village which has an exterior wall that can essentially be completely destructed, and then there's a couple interior buildings surrounding the flag. So here we'll take a quick tour around D. All of this area out here is not capping. You have to be inside the walls in order to cap. But one of the unique things about D, which is going to remind me a lot of D on Flood Zone, is that you have to cross water in order to get back to C, the Zen Garden up on the top, or the Zen Palace, however we want to call it, or E, which is the other area on the corner of the island. One of the things that I really find interesting about this map is that because there's 8 cap points, generally speaking the rounds are really slow. I only played about 3 or 4 rounds on it, but each of the rounds is probably about 40 minutes, just because the ability to cap and hold and get that ticket drain by having more caps than the other team was quite slow. So one of the big problems about the island that I noticed is that C is way up on top of the island, whereas E is down at the bottom. And I understand the distance aspect of it, but what ends up happening is going from C to E, you're completely exposed to F across the way. And the Russian team really has sort of a unique armor advantage in this scenario, because they can sit across the way, shoot armor up at you while you're trying to take E. Now it's going to require a bit of accuracy, of course, but at the end of the day, it gives them quite a unique advantage. Now, as we head from E, we're going to rush right over and try to get to H. If you see F on the left up on the hill, that's the area I was talking about that has a nice vantage point. We're going to rush by that guy and try not to die. It was towards the end of the round and I really wanted to capture these last 2 points. Here comes H, which is very close to the Russian spawn, and it also spawns a transport heli. Up here, as I run into a rock, is G, which is the closest capture point to the Russian spawn. One issue that's with this map that I noticed all 3 or 4 times that I played is that the Russians are able to cap G, F, and H before the US can actually cap A and B, which gives them sort of a head start in terms of the ticket burn. As I do a quick overview of the map, the first thing that comes to mind is what is it that the map can do to make some key changes that would benefit perhaps both teams sort of equally. First thing is I would probably get rid of the 8 points, but as I thought about the 8 points, I thought, well, you know, it should just go to 7 or it should go to 9. But as I think about it, and I think about really the size of the map and perhaps a different style of design that DICE might want to bring to the game, I wonder, what if they did something that has never been done in a Battlefield before? Take a massive, massive map, but only make it 3 objectives. So my idea would be to take A and B, which is near the US spawn, turn it into one massive objective. Take C and E, which is essentially the island in the middle, turn that into another objective, and then take what is essentially F and G and turn that into a massive objective. So what you effectively have is sort of 2 or 3 separate areas that are going to be armor heavy, infantry heavy, and you sort of let the battle play out in 3 smaller objectives. So let me know what you think about that idea. Would it be right? Is it okay? Is the map too big for just 3 objectives? What are your thoughts? I think I'd love to at least test it out in the CTE and see how it plays. I can imagine that once the Russians and the US take their close base, that most people are going to rush towards that center base to try to take it. And with unique ways of playing armor on the outskirt lanes, playing some LAVs, sort of slowly, methodically pushing, and even the open areas between H and where H is today and D, you can use that for various different things. Infantry cover, sniping. H would be a nice retreat point for some of the helicopters if there's AA out. Just quite a unique little design that you could potentially do by having the 3 capture points. And it also sort of eliminates the big issue that I seem to have seen, is that A almost doesn't get touched by the US team. A lot of times what happens is the Russian team will come over with a transport heli, drop people off onto A, recap it, and then of course it's very difficult for the US team to recap A. By making the objective much larger into A and B, you're looking for a situation where one team has more people in one area than the other. That also allows sort of a counter push as well, to have the other team push the area that the other team left. So let me know your thoughts. Post them in the comments below. Like the video, dislike the video, and of course subscribe. Talk to you all later. Bye.